You're listening to the Spotless Podcast, where cleanliness is always next to podliness. Now, here are your hosts, Hannah Brooks Olson and Andrew Walsh.
I don't know what to do here, Hannah. I'm worried about the show today.
Why?
We have too much show. I know it sounds like a cliche thing to say, but we have too much show.
What is
I don't
this,
know how we're
an
going to do
AMPM?
this. That's right. And I'm your Tumbagus.
You've always been my too.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It is true, though. That's such a cliche thing to say, like to get people to tune in. Oh, we got so much good stuff coming up tonight. It's going to be a real special show. But you know what? It is, hey, the famous air horns coming out again. You know, I still somewhere in my audio drive have 3 versions of an air horn that you gave me the first time. I think we co-hosted TBTL together. You want me to see if I can find those on the fly here? You gave me a 1, 2, 3 on air horns, I believe. Here we go. Hannah air horn 1, 2, and 3. I don't remember if these things, are in any kind of order, like if they get more energy as they go along. But the first thing we're going to do is let's lose this. This is how long ago is this? This is before we did Spotless together, right? This is from
like 8 years ago.
Yeah, I know. I cannot believe we got a voicemail coming up. By the way, I told you we have too much show, which is why I'm going back and starting with Hannah's air horn. That's what you're supposed to do when you have too much stuff to talk about. We have a voicemail from a listener who's listening through the archives, apparently, and is listening to a show from 2021 that she wants to comment on. And when she said that, I was shocked because I was like, we've been doing this show since 2021, but probably since 2019 or something, huh?
We've been doing it since before the pandemic because we used to record it in person together.
Yeah, that's right.
Before I moved to Portland. We used to live in the same city, and I moved to Portland in 2020.
My goodness.
Yep.
Yeah, so we've been doing this for a while, but this tape I'm about to play for you was before Spotless, when you were on TBTL and I was hosting and you were co-hosting. And for some reason, I asked you to give me some air horns.
Bow, bow, bow.
That's air horn number 1.
Bow, bow, bow.
That's a sad air horn.
Okay.
That's number 2. And then here's number 3. Bow, bow, bow. Lot of energy. Lot of energy. So we have options, is what I'm saying, throughout the show today.
Do you remember when we were youthful and we had excitement in our life? And things were positive?
When we actually had hope for the future.
Yeah.
Barely. Well, I have hope for today's show, and I have hope that we're going to get through all of this because, as I mentioned, we have a couple of great voicemails from listeners, and one of them has me on or at least had me the first time I listened to it, on the very edge of my seat, and I think you're going to be on the edge of your seat as well. And then we're going to have a serious conversation with the person who left that voicemail. A very serious conversation with that person. Also, you put in the show sheet here, fruit flies are back, baby, and my God, I am sick of pestilence in my house. I am so sick of pestilence. These flying critters are going to be the death of me. And I'm not talking just about the fruit flies. First, we went through a swarm of house flies. That took a week to get rid of. Then we had, as you'll recall, flesh flies in our house for about a week and a half. Those are all gone now. And then yesterday, Vives and I looked up where our lamp kind of, we have one of those kind of stick lamps that sort of points at the wall, and where the light was on the wall in the basement, nowhere near any kind of food, were swarms of fruit flies, Hannah. Okay. Nowhere near food.
Just chilling.
Just chilling, and they're slow. I was able to kind of vacuum them up and kill them and everything. Where are you seeing your fruit flies?
Everywhere. They're near the fruit, obviously. But then, they're also just like in the living room. They hang out in the bathroom on the mirror. Like we find them on the bathroom mirror kind of a lot. But that's because that's where they get in from. They come in for some reason through the bathroom window. If we leave the bathroom window open, like after a shower or whatever, they will come in through the screen and then linger.
Then find their food source.
But here's what's infuriating to me. We just moments not long ago, we were talking about how it's big spider season. Almost overnight, the big spiders have disappeared and the fruit flies have appeared.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to ask, one, big spiders, I know I was complaining about them. I feel like they went home early. I don't know what happened. Again, I am not a bug scientist, as we've established. But I feel like the giant spiders were doing their job. And now the giant spiders have, I don't know, packed up and gone to Florida for the winter or whatever. And now the fruit flies have taken over, and I have a different issue, and honestly a more irritating one, because the giant spiders were for the most part outside of my house, and the fruit flies are inside of my house.
Am I right that you're suggesting that the spiders actually take care of the fruit flies?
I think
or
they
it's just,
do.
They do. Because I'm not sure. I don't know anything about the life cycle of any of these bugs. I am not a bug scientist either.
We might need to get one of those, a bug scientist for
We might need to.
We might have
Look
to find
up
one.
Bug scientist.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But
you seem to have a little bit of regret. You sound like somebody who broke up with somebody, and now you're having a little bit of regret about that because you realize the world is even worse without.
I feel like I was cruel and ungrateful to the giant spiders,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe they were doing a job, and I was not appreciative of that. Now, as I have talked about ad nauseum on this show, my apple trees are a part-time job for me right now.
Oh, yes, and you're on a new project.
I am. So I made hard cider, and it turned out very dry, too dry, one might say.
It's already drinkable. I thought you'd have to keep it for.
It only takes like 2 weeks. It doesn't take that long.
Really?
Yeah, it does not take that long. The first batch. So the first batch was like, we tried. So several things have happened. I did not purchase a device that would tell me how much alcohol is in my alcohol. So I'm really playing with fire here as far as, like, I don't know how alcoholic it is.
Yeah. And the alcohol comes truly just from the fermentation, right?
Yes, from like the yeast, and I'm not a scientist, but I'm following directions, which is rare for me. And so the first batch of hard cider I made was really dry. It was not very sweet, and it wasn't bad, but one thing I noticed was that the fruit flies really love it. So presently,
yes,
some
of course.
of that is acting as a fruit fly trap, and it's working.
Yes, that's wonderful. Yeah, that's basically what we're using, like a vinegar combination, along with some of those, like, basically, like, you can buy them. They're called bug juice, which is basically very fragrant vinegar. Open that up. It attracts the bugs. They get drowned in it.
Yes, and so I think the alcohol is also helping trap them.
Yeah.
My second batch of cider is under the sink right now, or like under the cabinet right now, brewing. And then I have some in the freezer that's meant to be distilling into Applejack. So we'll see how that goes. But the other thing that happens with the apples is, like, as they fall, you have to really stay on top of, like, the windfall apples, like the ones that are just on the ground.
Yeah.
Because of fruit flies, you'll just get flies in your yard. And so I am spending a lot of time collecting apples off the ground. And then when I put them into some of them are just going straight into yard waste because of many reasons. And, like, my one apple tree, I did a lot of research into how to take care of it since I've had, like, we moved on to this, we moved into this house with this yard with these apple trees. I'd never had fruit trees like this before in my life. It immediately becomes your entire personality. And I learned
I want it to be. I'm jealous. I want that to be my personality.
I love it. Like, so I went with number 2 listener Paige to our 20-year high school and reunion last weekend, and we mostly what I talked about was, like, having an apple tree. Because it just is so all consuming. It is my main hobby right now, and I have collected so many apples, and I've made so much apple juice. Like, we are drinking, and it's really, really good apple juice. Like, it really is very, very good. Because I've done all this research into, like, how to care for an apple tree in the off season and how to prune it and all this stuff. So it's very fruitful right now. But what that means is, like, the neighborhood fruit flies are around. And so even putting the ones that fall on the ground into the yard waste container, I have to move it, like, away from the house.
Yep.
I can't open it up near the house because the fruit flies will come out and then they'll hang out too close to the house, and then if we deign to open a window at any point, they're coming in.
Yeah.
So I need to actually go outside. I need to make some fruit fly traps for, like, nearby the yard waste container and put them outside to catch and kill some of the fruit flies that are outside. It's a whole process.
Does the fruit on the ground also attract other pestilence? And by the way, I'm trying so hard not to say pestilence, as I've said it my entire life. Somebody corrected me recently.
Okay, here's the thing, though. There is technically 2 separate words, pestilence and pestilence.
Really?
Well, no, this is a hypercorrection because I.
Well, no, I'm lying.
No. So I don't. I also received a correction on this recently.
Really?
But it is sort of a hypercorrection. It is sort of like how technically the pluralization for octopus is octopodes, and like,
Oh, yeah.
ain't nobody actually doing that except for me. I also am the person who I refuse to say forums. I always say fora because technically that's correct, and that makes me an asshole. But I do it anyway. So like, you can pick and choose. Say it however you want. This is our podcast. People can deal. But yes, the pests of it all. Yes, the apple trees do. I mean, we have raccoons in the yard. We have little critters, obviously the mice and rats that live in my car. It is a wild kingdom in my backyard.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Yeah, make sure that your walls are all sealed up. Otherwise, you're going to end up with my issue, which was a dead animal in the wall, which brought flies and then worse flies.
Well,
I don't know what's going on with our fruit flies.
Yeah, where did they?
Well, I just mean like upstairs. Like we have a little compost thing in the upstairs kitchen, and so sometimes around this time of year, it will collect a little bit of fruit fly action. So, like I said, we put out little traps. You know, it's not that big of a deal, and I'm pretty meticulous about these things. But the problem was seeing them in our basement in a place where it wasn't a kitchen area, it wasn't a bathroom area. There was no reason for these bugs to be there. And I think Vives and I are still just a little bit like, I don't know, a little gun shy, a little triggered, a little traumatized by all the pestilence in our house the past month and a half, that when a couple of nights ago, we're just like hanging out, we look at the area where our lamp is in our kind of living room area down here, and we just see tons of fruit flies. It just felt, again, like we were being invaded. It was just, and it didn't make sense. And it was like, well, where are they coming from? Like, they're like, why would they be here? And I'm like, well, they're here because the lamp is on here. It's nighttime. We're in the basement. There's not a lot of light anyway. So but why are they down here? I just had never had that before. And I think that we've pretty much gotten rid of them. I'm killing them as I see them, put out the fruit fly trap.
Are they coming in from outside? Because this is the thing, is I'd never thought about them coming in from outside until, and this is how I figured out they were coming in through the bathroom window. It was one time I was outside with the dog, and I was like, I don't know, unleash it. Like I was taking off her leash outside of our bathroom window, and I looked and I saw a bunch of fruit flies just hanging around the bathroom window, which was shut at the time. But then later, when the bathroom window was open for a small period of time, it like clicked for me. And so I'm curious if there's something outside of your basement area where maybe they're collecting and then they're getting in some kind of way. So I'm wondering about like your yard waste outside, if maybe setting up some fruit fly traps out by your yard waste or something might be helpful.
Maybe. I mean, I do have that dead cattle that is like right outside my door, and it's been there for about 6 months or so.
Your tannery is so close to your residence. I've warned you about this.
You have been telling me I need to move my tannery.
I know you guys love your gentleman tannery.
We certainly do.
All
right.
by Genevieve is really popular on Etsy, but like at what cost?
Do you have anything that says discipline, Daddy? That's a little Arrested Development joke. Yeah, so I do think the one thing about fruit flies that makes me feel less bad than when we had our actual fly infestation is...
I'm sorry, what kind of flies were they?
Flesh fly and house fly. This is something everybody is going through right now. Not everybody, but people in our region. And like, you know, I got a text message from somebody on the East Coast recently saying, I'm dealing with fruit flies. That's where we are now. And it's kind of like knowing that like this is something we're all going through makes you feel less shame about it. Like there was something about the actual fly infestation that really was, well, it was bugging me.
Yes.
And I'm not trying to be clever there.
Everyone gets fruit flies, and it really is like an early fall thing. This is the time. And again, there's a million different things. All of them work in varying degrees. Eventually the fruit flies do just sort of die off when it gets to be winter. So you kind of just have to make it through. But if you don't want to make your own trap, I know you've had a lot of success with also, you know, something like vinegar or something, and then adding soap on top and making
little dish soap,
little bubbles. If you are very lazy and you just want to buy something that comes pre-made, the Aunt Fanny's or whatever one that's vinegar, and it has just whatever the like dimethicone or whatever it is that. And it's just those two ingredients. It's so simple. And it comes in sort of a Lowry's salt kind of container. And you just open it up. It will trap a shit ton of fruit flies.
Yeah,
It's at
that's what we got
$7
going.
on Grove, and it really does work. Yeah, the fruit fly punch, like that really does work. And so if you are looking for something that you can just buy and put in your kitchen right now, they really are very functional. If you don't want to have to sort of concoct something yourself.
You mentioning Grove reminds me of another thing that I need to talk to you about because I'm now mad.
Is it Grove's shitty ass app?
First of all, my God, woman.
What did they do?
I finally got a new, well, that isn't what I wanted to bring up. I'm kind of on the other side of that now. The app seems to be working better for me. But about, I don't know, 6 months ago, they decided to like kind of combine with one of those online retail, the another app that basically takes care of the payment system. I think it wasn't Shopify, but I think it was Shop or something like that.
Yeah.
And so you build an account with this and various sellers online will use your shop account or whatever. It's supposed to make checkout easier. I'm sure it makes it easier on Grove's end. But I was still using like a 5-year-old phone when they made that transition. A phone that worked for every other app, by the way. It was not a phone that was limping along. But it basically, the Grove app did not work for me for like months, and I was paying a service fee to like kind of be the VIP membership level for free shipping and everything. And it really irritated me because it was like now I had to keep a list and then go down to my computer and then order it online. And like it was 2017, for God's sakes.
Yes.
But anyway, they seemed to, I got a new phone and
I couldn't even make an order the other day. I was trying to just like update my order.
Really?
Because I had just placed an order 2 weeks ago, and then Keith was like, "Oh, we're out of this one thing," and I was like, "I just asked you, dude. It's fine. But I went to go make another order, and especially because Target is still on punishment, I am relying very heavily on Grove these days for household things, and it could not even complete the most basic of transactions. I had to open the website on browser while walking the dog, and I was so frustrated, and the way that the shopping experience has gotten so much worse, I was infuriated.
It's such a part of their business model. You can't put a barrier there. You got us trained to go to you. Like, I could not believe. I wrote to them a couple of times, and they gave me like $10 in credit or something. Like, well, we're sorry you're having trouble with it, but it should work or whatever. But it's fine on my new phone now. I'm frustrated to hear that it's still janky for you. I mean, when it was really bad for me, it was like there was no haptic when you ordered something, so you didn't realize you're adding it to all these small little indicators of online shopping that we're so used to that when they go away, you realize how used to it you are. I was like, why isn't this adding to my cart? And it was like, because it wasn't giving me any indication until I went to my cart, and I was like, oh, you added that 700 times. And
well,
like,
especially
delete.
Their original, like, the app was really functional for a long time, and then
great.
They messed with it, and then it got really bad. So anyway, no, what's your issue with Grove now?
So, but the thing is, I think when we talk about this, we'll know that the culprit isn't really you or Grove, but you talked me into buying one of these. I'm really leaning into blaming you on this. One of those plug-in air fresheners that wasn't like a Glade or whatever. This one was called EnviroScent. It's a very simple design. The thing that you plug in itself is about the size of, it's just a little circle that you plug in. It's not very intrusive. I'm trying to think what would be a good, like, do people still use makeup like little powder? My mom always had this little powder that she put on her face,
like
and it would be in a
cup,
compact.
yes.
Or compact or whatever. And you just plug it in and you just buy these little inserts, and it's a little less kind of generic and chemically smelling than like the Glade ones, and it's a nice clean solution. The thing is, I bought the little kit for not too much, like $15, maybe even less than that, and it came with one of the scented pucks. And then that one, after about 45 days or whatever, it says it started to wear out after a while, as it should. But now I can't buy any. I went online to buy a replacement, and they were out. They had like 17 different scents to choose from, and there was only one scent left. I bought that one, which was fine. I think it was like rosemary tea or something like that. A very gentle scent.
It's not as good as the peony is the best one, though.
Yeah, I think that might have been what I started with. But I bought one of those, but I'm thinking, well, I need to buy another one for when this wears out. They're totally out. Now, I'm guessing this isn't Grove trying to make me mad. I'm sure they're mad, too. This probably has to do with tariffs. This probably has to do with supply chain issue. But it is one of those things where you finally find something that you like, but then it's almost immediately obsolete because I can't get the refills for it.
I know. I've been in this state as well, and I am someone for whom my mental health is so precarious that I really rely on a lot of different structures and scaffolding to hold me together. And one of them is that when I come down into my little office down here, having it smell like my office is very important to my productivity. And so having my little plug-in that tells me this is work time and it smells like work down here, and having that, I talk a lot on the show about reward bundling and how it's part of the way that I get myself into cleaning with my emotional support iPad, with all my ways that I get myself into keeping house and doing my chores. And one of my reward bundles is that I get to come downstairs into my little office and it has my favorite smell, and I get to sit down here and work in my favorite scented area. And now I can't get my smell. And
so you've already experienced what I've told you. You specifically have been looking for this EnviroScent. I just went online as you were talking, and it's just totally out of stock right now.
Yes, that scent is fully out of stock. Also on the EnviroScent website.
Even on so I guess I could go to EnviroScent on the Grove website. They literally don't have any refills available at all.
So you can also go to the EnviroScent website straight away. They have different offerings. They also, by the way, they have these. They have a car air freshener called Auto Sticks, and they're these little like wands that are just heavily sort of scented, and it's just a little stick, and you hang it in your car. And they also smell fantastic. I am a big fan.
You have some of those? Oh, okay.
EnviroScent generally has me. Like, I love the sort of characteristics of their scents. I think they're very, like you said, it's like less generic, less chemically. It's a lot of essential oils that just I think smell great. My next step is I'm going to be looking to see which like hardware stores maybe stock them in my area, because I do think a couple do.
Oh, Ace might be the place.
Or a sort of home goodsy type place might have them, but they usually have the really normal scents, only the lemon verbena, the, sort of the more regular scents that aren't necessarily the ones I want. But yes, this is, I do feel like this is also just the enshittification of literally every single aspect of being alive right now.
Yeah.
So, but yes, you're correct.
Which is, what is your favorite scent, by the way?
The peony is my favorite.
Boy, I don't even see that listed. I'm on the EnviroScent website, and they have a bunch that are sold out. Minerals and Moss. I love that restaurant in Ballard. Lavender Tea and Honey. I think that's one I'm rocking right now. Sea Salt and Aloe. Red Peppers and Rosewood. That sounds a little husky for me. I don't know if that's the right word. Musky? I don't know.
There's one that I was thinking that the Great Radio, by the way, just talking about smells. The other one I really did want to try was Red Poppies and Rosewood. It sounded really good. It's sold out, and I've waited on that.
Oh, Hannah, I just said Red Pepper and Rosewood. That's my eyes going bad. I was like, that doesn't sound good. Red Poppies sounds better than Red Peppers.
Red Poppy and Rosewood sounds pretty good. So
I'm an embarrassment.
You are. But this is like the closest.
Thanks.
This is the closest
You're
I've ever
supposed
come
to say, no, you're doing great,
You're
Andy.
doing great. You're doing great, sweetie.
Thank you.
But yes, this is a chronic issue, and I'm. So if anybody has the hookup on the plug-in, if anyone has the plug for the plug, do let me know, because I actually moved my scent plug-in closer. I had it across the room. I moved it closer to where my desk is, just to sort of,
because it's near the end of its life. The puck is, yes.
I'm limping it along.
In the tradition that we've started about a half hour ago of constantly adding new topics to our list for today, you just reminded me of something else that is maybe worth talking about, which is a little adult moment that I had. Wait, that sounds dirty. But I don't like the term adulting. I really hate the term adulting, so I think I stopped short. But it really sounds like I went to an adult theater.
So you had a grown-up moment as well.
I had a grown-up moment. Thank you very much. So I went to this porn theater, and I was watching an amazing movie. No, in so many ways, Genevieve has a word for this that I'm blanking on now, but it's like, there are so many things in my life that are minor inconveniences that are so unbelievably solvable if I spent 20 minutes thinking about it and 20 minutes enacting something. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I think about my closet downstairs, my shoe closet. It's just, I try to keep it somewhat neat, but it's basically 3 shoes deep. It's like a bunch of shoes, and they're all 3 shoes deep, basically. And I'm constantly rearranging them. And then I'll have like a piece of old carpet, and I'll just shove it in the back there. And then Genevieve will be like, well, that's like where Bingo likes to sit, which is true. He likes to go into his little office. So then she's always going in there and moving things. And I'm just like, I've been in this house for 3.5 years. I could just get a shoe rack. Like I could just get, this is so unbelievably solvable. But when I start to think about it, I just like dismiss it right away. There are other things that are sort of like that on a smaller level. I think about kitchen utensils, and I'd never had like kind of nice spatulas. I had one spatula that I like because it sort of reminded me of the black spatula that my mom used growing up, you know. And I know there people are saying don't use black plastic cookware these days, but then other people are saying that that study is not all it's cracked up to be. Like, whatever, you do your best, everybody. But I have a good metal spatula that I love, but I can't use that on non-scratch or non-stick cookware, so I need some plastic spatulas. And the one I had been using that was a little nostalgia kick for me finally just got to be so crummy I had to throw it away. But then I didn't really think much of it until every time I went to cook, like especially eggs or something that you kind of need a decent spatula to flip, right? I hated the remaining spatulas we had in our little drawer, right? Yeah. Like one of them was just one of those really heavy-handled ones that were big several years ago, or maybe more like a decade ago, because you could like set it down, and it was just weird. There's this phase of making too heavy-handled utensils and cookware. And I found it very awkward. It would flip out of the pan. Plus, it was so old, it was melted from so many times of setting it like on the edge of a pan. It was just a piece of S.
Every one of my wooden spoons has like a burn mark or up and down the shaft.
Yes, exactly.
The handle, because I've left it because
That's why I was watching at the movie theater.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, right. Burn mark from the shaft.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
fantastic piece of cinema, by the way.
It really is underrated, ahead of its time. But so and the thing about this, the spatula thing is I never think about, it's a small irritant while I'm cooking, but then as soon as I'm done cooking and the dishes are done, I'm not thinking about it anymore, so I'm no longer interested in solving that problem of not having a halfway decent spatula. And it was just going on forever.
That you hate the experience of like online shopping, or like you hate.
I'm not drawn to it like
you don't
other
like
people are.
The searching for a solution. Because I like trying to find the perfect tool to solve my little problem, whereas you, I think, don't like that
the hunt as much.
Exactly right.
I like having it. I don't mind buying it, but I am not as interested in like kind of like
finding
going and trying. There are several things in my life right now, in fact, that I just like spice racks. I hate our spice rack situation right now. It's quite cruddy on our walls, but like I just started the hunt the other day. I went on eBay, which I'm doing more shopping on eBay, and I started looking at various options. And the thing is, you just have to know that I need to go through tons and tons of these to start understanding the language and then search terms. And then you just got to sit down and do it. And I don't like the hunt. I just want somebody to say, hey, isn't this a really cool looking spice rack that would solve all your problems? And I say, yes, here's my credit card. But I did have a moment. I was cooking breakfast the other day. I was frustrated with this goddamn spatula that was just like all janky and falling out of the pan or whatever, and I said, I'm done. And Vives and I had to be somewhere in about an hour and a half, and I said, you know what, Vives? That gives me plenty of time to drive to Ballard to something called like the Culinary Experience or something. I don't know. It's one of those, those old foo-foo shops right along the main drag of Ballard, right? I usually only stumble past that place as I'm going from like Bad Albert's to the smoke shop or something like that.
With pull tabs stuffed in your pockets. Yeah.
Exactly. Just leaving a trail of them behind me like a Peanuts character. Never do I go into the nice little shops, and this time I'm just like, you know what? I'm driving to GD Ballard, and I'm going to the shop. I'm going to see what they have. And I went in there, and I walked around the store with the utensils in my hands and spatulas, and I'm bending them, and I'm comparing them, and I'm looking at them, and I was out of there in probably 20 minutes tops. And now I have two spatulas that I like. I do think that I bought two that were too similar in size. I need a smaller one now. But it just felt so good to be like, I'm coming home and I'm throwing away that one that Genevieve probably inherited from a roommate in 2001.
Dirty Christmas acquisition.
Yes,
100%.
exactly.
I was together with my oldest, bestest friends last weekend, and we were in Eugene. And while we were there, we went two places that I wish existed in every town and city in America. One, we went to the Marley's Monsters flagship store.
Oh, look at you.
Becca. It was amazing. So good. Oh, I could have.
Did you grab any of the soil and bring it home with you?
I honestly should have. It's so good. And it's in this sort of new mini mall kind of thing that has things that are so deeply Eugene, just places to eat. And then there's like a Nike store. But it was fantastic. And then the other place we went is a place in downtown Eugene, and it's called Down to Earth. And it's originally a garden supply / feed store, farm feed store. It has the old Purina red and white grid sort of ghost mural painting up on the old silo because it's in an old granary. It's built out
paint
of
on brick, sort of.
Yes, and it's built,
cool.
And when you see the red and white checkerboard pattern, it's because they sold Purina feed, and so you see it on old feed stores. It's very sort of country store style, and it's been there for forever. It's, like I said, it's built in this gorgeous old granary, and they have, everything you could ever need. We were walking through, and they have Fiesta ware, and they have every kind of thing you would ever want to put on top of a jar that could turn it into something else. A sippy cup top for a jar, but also a thing that you put on your jar to make it into a pickling apparatus, or to make it a soap pump dispenser. And they had a million different kinds of tea towels and Swedish dishcloths and sink thing. We were talking about how you always need a second sink drainer thing, so one can be in the dishwasher.
Yes.
But also every kind of Castile soap you could ever want. And like, they just have so many little things that you never know where else to get. And I was just thinking, like, man, I wish there was one of these in every town because it was so useful and so handy. And I was sad that I could not buy every single thing I needed there because I couldn't have possibly gotten it all home. But I feel like that's one of those places where you go when you know exactly what you need and you're on a spatula mission, and I'm going to this place.
Right.
I'm going to get a spatula. I'm going to get some soil amendments for my garden. I'm going to get a sink strainer, and I'm going to get a new butter dish or whatever, and just everything. Oh, so good. And I feel the sort of general store with kitchen supply stuff is really one of the things that we have lost.
Yeah, and it's a great place to wander around as well. But I was also glad that I was on a bit of a time budget as well, because it just felt like, you know what, I'm going to go to Ballard, I'm going to buy these spatulas, I'm going to come back home, and then we're going to move on with our day. And it just sort of gave me a sense of, such a sense of accomplishment. I couldn't help it, the woman who was checking me out as I was paying was at the register. I'm guessing that she was probably the owner, or I don't know for sure, but maybe just worked there for a long time. It's a very small shop, right? So I'm sure they don't have too many employees. But she started some sort of small talk with me about the spatulas, as one does, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm like 48 years old, but today I'm becoming an adult, because this is the first time I've ever gone into a store. I've bought spatulas probably used before. I've probably been at that one that I used to like from the 80s. I probably saw it, or maybe the 70s. I probably saw it at a garage sale and I grabbed it, but I've never gone and bought a brand new spatula. It's such a small thing, such a tiny, like, would I spend $30 on two spatulas? And
it's the kind of thing
such a big impact.
You can kind of just get, on Amazon, or that you could just get at Target or whatever. And it's the mass-produced one that you'll have for probably a while, and it'll be fine. But I do think there's something about going to a place where the buyer, the person who works at that store, who chooses what to carry in the store, has made a really thoughtful choice about which products to carry, which lines to carry. I do think it's a different experience to go into your locally owned, locally sourced kind of store like that and get the thing, and then every time you use that implement or you use that tool, you kind of remember that you had that experience. And this is such a old person thing to say, and I know how this sounds, and I acknowledge it. And again, I'm already a self-admitted pedant and asshole and snob, but like, it is so contradictory to our sort of like overconsumption and throwaway culture to make that trip to the kitchen store and be like, I'm going to purposefully choose to spend a little bit of money, specifically keep it in my local ecosystem, and then get a really great experience out of it. And it's like, honestly, the price difference between what you spent on this really great new spatula and what you would have spent if you'd added some like piece of shit on Amazon is not that massive, like, it's not in the scheme. Like, I don't think the price differential between a shitty spatula and a really like decent one is that I can't imagine it's that huge,
And to be honest with you, these are not some sort of like handcrafted boutique spatulas.
Right.
What's that one brand that is like 3 letters? It's not Uno, but it's I don't know. Oxo, exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you for bailing me out there. But they had that kind of stuff. They had all kinds of stuff, and the ones I bought are again, they had to be plastic because I wanted them for nonstick pans. So I'm not saying I couldn't have even gotten these on Amazon, but one thing is, we've been talking about how at first, especially after this last election, Vives and I were like, it just feels gross to use Amazon now to have anything to do with Bezos that we don't have to do with him. And so we were saying we're trying not to use Amazon as much, and we're going to let our Prime membership lapse. Because the thing about having a Prime membership is it's really hard to avoid the siren song of free shipping, that goes along with that. But now, guess what? Our Amazon has fully lapsed now. We don't have it anymore. And so you take away that incentive, and all the more you're just sort of like, well, Amazon is not even really an option for us anymore. We don't think about it. I mentioned eBay, and one of the things with eBay that we're sort of learning is some people are drop shipping stuff, and basically you're just getting it from Amazon anyway, which kind of sucks, and you paid 30 extra cents maybe. I don't even know how people are making money off of that stuff, but I had to buy something, just a little piece of technology that I was gonna maybe tell you about today, but I might hold it for another day. But just like a little card reader device for my computer, and I bought it from somebody, and it came to just moments before the show. I opened it and I saw that it was something that was in a package. I don't think it was used, but clearly the package had been around for a while, and the person wrote a little note on it. I'm looking for it here, literally in my garbage, and it just said in this very bubbly, I'm assuming female handwriting. I'll hold it up here for a second. I don't know if you can see it, that kind of handwriting. And it just says, "Thank you so much for your purchase. I hope that you love it." And then it's signed by somebody named Amy. Now, to say, "I hope that you love it" for a card reader for your computer is, I'm not saying that she put all the thought in it, but it meant the world to me that, like, oh, yeah, this wasn't somebody who just, like, bought this and took my order and then moved it over to Amazon and had it shipped to me. It was somebody who ended up with this thing and was selling it on eBay, and it made me feel a little bit better about my choices in the world.
And I think that's lovely. I love that.
All right, so here's the deal, Hannah. I'll tell you. I think let's save what I was going to talk about for next week. And what I was going to talk about is the fact that, and I think a lot of folks know this from listening to my other podcasts, but my mom passed away last week, and so that was obviously a whole kind of difficult thing. But I'm doing well. Everybody in the family is doing well, but it really did bring up a topic that is something that you and I have talked about on the show, kind of more theoretically, although you've had to experience this as well, which is cleaning up after somebody once they pass away. Cleaning up, just like going through their stuff. Maybe not even cleaning up. I don't even know if that's the proper term to use, because it was not like my mom had left some sort of huge amount of stuff behind. She was living in a care facility for, I think, 5 years, and it was graduated too. So she had spent the last probably 10 or 15 years of her life downsizing anyway, and kind of sending us a lot of photos, and like not, whatever the opposite of hoarding is. But even for somebody who is living such a small life, I mean, that's a terrible way of putting it, but like literally physically,
Sure.
kind of living in a small space and not hoarding things. It's shocking how long it takes, and even for what I would guess to be one of the easier aspects, or on the spectrum of having to clean up after somebody, this would have been on the easier end, but it still is so much work. And so I want to kind of talk to you about that experience and reflect on it a little bit more. But the thing is, we're a half an hour into the show already, and I feel like we will go for 4 hours if we get into that now. But I also have some related to that eBay purchase, trying to find ways to go through digital things that people left behind. You don't realize that, a lot of the photos are on old cards that you can't even plug into your computer anymore, because the technology has changed so much just in the past 20 years. And so that's why I was buying card readers and stuff on eBay.
Not like a credit card reader. I was thinking a credit card reader, but
I'm sorry.
SD card reader.
Exactly. Well, I mean, now
see.
I'm sort of getting into it. We'll talk about it more in the next show. But remember these things, compact flash cards. Look at this, 8 megabytes. 8 megabytes. Here's 128 megabytes. But like these
it
are
has
those
7 photos on it.
Exactly. But I mean, this is from probably the early 2000s, I'm going to say. And anyway, so I have more to tell you kind of about that and how now even to like kind of go through old photos, you have to say, wait a second, how do I get the photos off this thing even to see it? And also, do I want to see the photos?
Well, I mean, that's right. Especially if it's, I mean, from a deceased relative's old Nikon cool pics. God knows what's on there, right?
Exactly. I mean, luckily my mom is not of the generation that I have to worry about finding anything too spicy, I think. But that is not true for everybody.
And I mean, imagine someone who has been through the really terrible experience of like losing a peer or a spouse or a adult
a young
child,
person. Yeah.
Right? Like
yeah.
you really don't know what's going to be. And especially if it happens suddenly.
Yeah.
So since we're going to push this topic off to our next show, I think this is maybe a good time to put a call out then if anybody has gone through this and has a story to share.
Great.
If you have had someone in your life pass on and you've done digital cleanup, maybe you had to look through someone's phone, I would be really curious what that experience was like. Do you have any advice for Andrew as he's going through this? And then I think generally the topic of preparing for someone's passing and what to do with the stuff and how to clean up spaces, because it's a very real and it can be both very, I think, positive for the grieving experience to clean up for someone, the things you find in those moments you had. I've had some really,
it's part of the process.
It really is. And I've had some very healthy, lovely cries standing over something I found in someone's belongings. It can also be infuriating to deal with a mountain of moldy paperwork that someone just put in a corner and knew that somebody else would deal with at some point. Like,
or that they just didn't have to.
They just didn't think about it. They were just like, someone else will deal with this, right?
Whatever.
So I would love to hear if our listeners have any feelings or have experiences with this. So this is a good time for a call out on that.
Yeah, good call out. In fact, I will mention, and then we'll play a couple of voicemails here, but our phone number is 508-469-9274. That's 508-HOW-WASH. 508-469-9274 if you want to call our voicemail line and share any kind of cleaning-related story, or if you have a question for us or advice for us, we'll take it. But especially, as Hannah was saying, we'll be talking about maybe some of that end-of-life stuff as well. You can also email us, spotlesspod@gmail.com. You could record a little voice memo and email it to us, spotlesspod@gmail.com. And you can watch this episode and other episodes on YouTube and clips on Instagram @spotlesspod. But before we get out of here, I do want to check that voicemail line. This is a new Sabrina Carpenter album, I think.
Love it.
It's you can tell it's got that sheen of modernity to it. We got this voicemail from Cheryl, who, Hannah, I thought you'd be interested in this, wants to thank you for your advice.
Hey, Hannah and Andrew, this is Sherilyn Corvallis. I just had a life hack, and I just want to thank Hannah for this, because I was scrubbing blood out of sheets and pajamas, helping my daughter, and the shout that I normally use just wasn't cutting it. And I said, I'm going to try Castile soap. Some people swear by it. I didn't say Hannah swears by it, because my daughter would have asked me, who on earth is Hannah?
Wouldn't be the first
And
person.
Then I would have had to explain Hannah and Andrew. Wait, Andrew from TBTL. Anyway, I said some people swear by it, and I put just a little bit of Castile soap on the stain. It magically disappeared, the blood stain. So just use Castile soap if you have blood to get out of sheets. All right. Take it easy. Bye.
Cheryl called back right after that, too, and said, I forgot to mention, I also use Castile soap in a big bucket of hot water to clean the windows after that, just generally speaking, because she had Castile soap, unrelated, obviously. And she said that was also miraculous from her point of view.
This is the thing about Castile soap. So you can get it. Dr. Bronner's obviously is the one who popularized it, but you can get it all over the place. A lot of places make it sort of white label, and it's just I think it's made of olive oil or something. It is super simple. It is super safe on all kinds of surfaces. And it really does take out a ton of stuff. And the thing about it is it's very inexpensive. It's made to be diluted. And so it's just a great thing to have on hand. Also, I want to say real quick, Cheryl, thank you for this and for talking about this. People are so weird about blood stains. I remember ages and ages ago seeing like a clip on TikTok or whatever of a comedian being, well, okay, so way before this, Jerry Seinfeld had a bit about like how weird it was that a washer and dryer specifically had a setting for blood, and he was so weird about it. Like, who's out here washing out blood? Oh my god, blah blah blah. And I was like, tell me you've literally never lived with someone who menstruates. Like, a lot of people have to deal with blood kind of all the time.
In Jerry Seinfeld's defense, I think usually the people are premenstrual.
Sometimes people tell on themselves, and we should listen. Right. But yes, like people are very weird about having to clean up blood when, one, all of us are full of it all the time. You, me, and everybody we know are full of blood. We walk around full of blood. Sorry to say, it's inside of all of us at all times. God
Sometimes
willing.
The doctor takes it from me.
Sometimes they do. Sometimes it comes out of you accidentally. Sometimes it comes out on purpose. Sometimes you have to clean up blood. It's a thing you need to know. So yes, Castile soap is a great way to get it out. Second of all, I got a little nervous because when you said hot water, I was like, oh, no. Don't get the blood near the hot water.
No, that was a separate thing. So yeah, for good. The windows. Yeah.
Very clearly, blood and cold water. Blood and cold water. Remember, if you think hot water and blood, you're incorrect. Blood
so Cheryl said that, it worked well. Did she put it in the wash cycle, do you think?
She put it right on it, which is right.
Oh, okay.
Because you can, this is a good warning as well, if you try and do laundry or dishes with Castile soap and you add it like regular soap, you will overload your machine and up with like a comedic amount of suds overflowing.
So it does suds up. I didn't think it would be something that suds.
It will suds up. So you, and because it's meant to be diluted, put it directly on the thing and then put that in the wash or hand wash the object. But yes, if you just run a little bit of Castile soap, and you don't have to dilute it. You could just put like a droplet on and give it one of these. That is true. And then, yes, a little bit of it for, windows, outside cleaning, inside cleaning. And again, you can get it at like grocery outlet. You can get it so inexpensively in really big amounts. It feels like it's a lot of money when you're buying a container that's this big of soap that's $17, but it's an investment.
And Hannah's indicating something that is about the size of a deli jar of pickles that would be sitting on the counter of a deli.
Liter,
I've been thinking a lot about pickles lately. Had a great pickle yesterday, by the way.
Where? From what? What kind of pickle?
It was
you gloss over a good pickle?
Sorry, I had to look it up, and apparently it's not sold in regular stores, but it is sold at like restaurant supply stores. Because I was at that German bar that was right in my old neighborhood, and I never went there. I was never that impressed with it. But I went there yesterday because it happened to be convenient, and it was almost exactly across the street from my old apartment. A German bar that I only went to once, had an iffy experience and left. Deer Stupel or something like that. I don't even know if that's close or whatever. It's in the Roosevelt area, and I guess it's been there forever. I didn't realize that it's been there for a really long time, but I found myself there yesterday and had a really good meal and a couple of beers, and then it came with a pickle, and I think they were called Monarch. That's right. They had a little bit of spice to it, just a little bit of kick to it, and just a nice kind of kosher style pickle slice. So you can get Monarch pickles. Are you seeing it? Are you Googling this?
No, because the first thing I Googled Monarch pickle, and the first thing that came up was Monarch pickleball. Apparently there's a pickleball company called Monarch, and then I immediately became so enraged that someone reminded me that pickleball existed that I closed
You don't like
the tab.
Why do you care that people like pickleball?
I don't care about pickleball as a sport. I don't care that people play it. I just have found that people who are very into pickleball, and I often don't have a lot else to talk about, in the same way that if someone didn't want to talk about apple trees all day, they might not want to speak to me.
Yes.
It's not
I'm looking
for me. I'm trying to get really good at saying when things are just not for me.
Yes,
and that it's
exactly.
I hope no one's offended when I say things are not for me, because it doesn't mean they're bad. It just means they're not for me. And the entire ethos of pickleball, generally speaking, is not for me.
It just has, I guess it hasn't entered my life in a way that has been an annoyance. Nobody's trying to tell me their pickleball stories, but maybe that's the difference between you and I. You have friends. By the way, back on Monarch Pickles,
Yes.
if you look up Monarch Pickles, they do sell it at U.S. Chef Store, which is a store really near my house where I go about once a week anyway to buy cups and food to go containers for my pop-up volunteer stuff. And the funny thing here is I can buy them, but I have to buy them in a 5-gallon bucket of pickles.
I'm seeing the pickle bucket.
Hannah Brooks Olson, should we go in on a 5-gallon bucket of pickles together? My God. Then we can fight over the bucket afterwards.
I mean, the bucket alone seems worth it. I had to like scrounge for a bucket the other day. I had several garments because I'm a mess all the time. Several garments that I had spilt food type objects onto, and they had sort of oil stains that I was having a hard time getting out. And my last ditch effort for everything, if Grandma's Secret's not getting it out and I just cannot get an oil stain sort of thing out of a shirt, my last ditch is I just dye it black because 80% of my wardrobe is black anyway, or I bleach. I tie-dye it with bleach, and then I'm just like, this is my look. I live in Oregon. Who cares?
I can't picture you in tie-dye.
Well, it's like bleachy, sort of like.
Oh, I see.
Looking. I
more distressed. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Heather it sort of. So I was doing a little bit of that the other day in my driveway, but I needed to find a bucket, and all of my buckets were spoken for. Like I had projects happening all over the yard, and so I'm low on buckets right now.
You're in the market for a 5-gallon bucket. Anyway, those were the pickles that I had. Okay. I can't remember what I was talking about when I brought up the pickles, but I want to go back to Cheryl's voicemail very briefly for a reason that is going to be pretty torturous. But I want to know. Cheryl briefly mentioned that she tried Shout, right? Yeah. That stain remover stuff. I think most people are familiar with Shout. It comes in a little spray bottle. That's the classic way, at least. And whenever I think of Shout now, I think of an internet meme. And I think you might have posted it if you didn't actually create it yourself. But now I'm also wondering if this is just a joke that I made up, because Genevieve and I laugh all the time. We used to keep Shout in the house, but at one point, one of us bought Zout instead. Do you know there's a product exactly like Shout, only it says Zout, and it comes in the same exact bottle? And I remember seeing online, and I can't remember if it was the Spotless, Instagram account of somebody saying, Mom, I want some Shout. Mom, we have Shout at home. And then you show a picture of Zout.
I made the meme.
Did you make that?
Specifically because you told me that I think Genevieve accidentally bought Zout or something.
Yes, and we're a Zout family.
Because we often use the joke in our house of like, I want this thing. Oh, we have it at home. And it's always like whatever the shittier version is.
Right.
And I think I made a meme of it specifically for that.
I was thinking about that.
We do that. Yeah, we like that meme construction a lot in this house.
Yes.
And the fact Shout is one of those ones that I think it came along at a time. It really was. It became a leader in its industry. Shout was the spot getter outer. Like
absolutely.
Shout you could not go into a middle-class household in the 90s and go into their cleaning cabinet and not find a bottle of Shout. Like it was.
And it works. I mean, it didn't work in for the blood in Cheryl's case. So it's not a miracle. And of course, you know what? Shout has been a little bit eclipsed in my house now by but what's the stain remover that we use for our poultry? Folex. Like I haven't used it on laundry, but I'm sure it works on laundry. And Folex is truly magic. I mean, we've spoken about that before.
Yeah, but Folex holds up. Folex is another one too, where you buy the big bottle and I think I've really only purchased 2 bottles of Folex ever in my life because you just have them for so long. They're so big. However, I was reminded last night. So last night. We have so much show, and I'm taking forever. I know. Okay, but last night we were watching our Seattle Mariners become the division champions for the first time in 24 years. It's very exciting. I spilled beer on myself, the couch, and the rug, and I went to my cupboard to get the Folex. And I was reminded that I reused the Folex bottle for a different cleaner. Like I put a concentrate of it, and it's fine.
It wasn't bleachy or anything.
It wasn't
bleachy.
Oh God! But it was it was an enzyme pet cleaner upper that I bought. It was the Nature's whatever one, the Nature's Miracle, which is a great pet enzyme cleaner upper, and it comes in a concentrate in a really big, like 2-gallon jug, and you put just a little bit in, top it off with water, you put it in whatever spray bottle. At some point in the past, I had made up a new bottle of it in a Folex, and I had not done the thing my mother is very good about doing, which is scribbling over the old label and making you know that it's not that thing.
You gotta relabel it,
Because as soon as I sprayed it and I smelled it, I was like, this is not Folex. And not only is this not Folex, it hasn't been Folex, and we in fact have not had Folex in our home for I don't know how long.
Oh no, an air and a spare with Folex, baby. You always gotta gotta have Folex.
But I realized I think Keith has been very diligently using what he believed to be Folex for a while, and has been using. And again, it's not bad, but I don't think it works as well.
It's gonna ruin the reputation of Folex in his head.
So
he's gonna think this doesn't work that well, and it's like, oh, you're not using Folex.
So I had to make a nighttime add to cart of some Folex.
Nice. You don't get that from Grove, do you? They don't have Folex.
No, I went to the Folex website.
Really nice. I love it. I'm doing more and more of that too. Yeah, no Amazon, like we were saying.
I'm cutting out the middleman, left, right, and center. But the problem with that solution is, as I've often said, that I'm a slut for free shipping. Like I need free shipping, and so I always end up buying other odd shit. I'm forever just like, well, I guess I'll try this other thing that I definitely don't need, because
you just keep adding to your cart to get over whatever the limit is.
Yeah, it's a vicious cycle. But anyway, so I had this whole realization the other day that I've had this fraudulent Folex.
Ugh,
it's FAUX Lex in my house all this time.
Folex. That's pretty good. Just come up with that, or you've been thinking about that? That is pretty good. I got to give you credit.
Thank you.
All right. Speaking of stories, which I sort of was speaking of for a second there, we have a voicemail from listener Nancy. I mentioned this at the beginning of the show. This is a voicemail that had me for 1 minute and 59 seconds on the very, very edge of my seat. I'm going to play it for you now. And this is also the listener who's going back through the archives, because as you'll hear Nancy mention, this voicemail was prompted by something she heard in an episode from 2021, and I think it needs a little bit of context, which is, I can't remember what the name of that episode was. Nancy will say it, and it made me laugh out loud when I heard our own show title from years ago said back at us. So kudos to you, Hannah, because you probably came up with it. But somehow in that show, I was telling you and the listeners something that I've said many times in my life, which is when I'm in a hotel room, I kind of get obsessed with the idea that there might be a secret money belt hidden somewhere. And it's an absolutely ridiculous, irrational thing to think. And it all started with some episode of Cheers that I saw at too young of an age, where somebody had hidden a money belt, and so the Cheers gang is tearing apart somebody's apartment looking for a money belt. I didn't even know what a money belt was. I still don't think that a money belt is really common parlance. I think it's just stuck in my head. I think it's back in the day, if you were traveling to Europe and you were paranoid about pickpockets or whatever, you would wear these things inside your clothes, right?
Yeah, it was a real Rick Steves type travel Europe tip that you would keep your money sort of on your person.
Yeah.
Because of sticky fingered Europeans.
Yes, exactly. Anyway, so this is a little bit, I guess, cleaning tangential, but that is what prompted this voicemail from Nancy.
Hi, Andra. It's Nancy from...
Okay, that's interesting right there. Some people call us Handrew, which is a combination of our names, but I think what we're hearing there is Nancy swapping that, so it's Handa? Did I hear that right, or something like that? Okay.
I'm not mad about it.
Hi, Andra. It's Nancy from Media.
It's Anda.
Anda.
Okay.
Hi, Andra. It's Nancy from Media. I say that like you know who I am. I have neither advice to give nor looking for advice. I'm just listening to your episode from 2021 because that's how I roll. It was, Drunk and Orderly. It was the name of the episode, and
Drunk and Orderly.
we were talking about always looking for a money belt in the hotel rooms. Well, it sparked a memory for me that I always check out the safes in hotel rooms, and there was to see if they were like, open or anybody left anything behind or whatever. And there was one time when I happened to be in Vegas and we happened to get an upgrade to this like crazy amazing suite on the top floor overlooking everything with 2 bedrooms and all the blah blah that happens on the suites. And the safe was locked. The safe was locked. It wasn't open. So of course I was convinced that there was some high roller there that had all their stuff there and got arrested. So stuff got left behind. Really silly. But anyway, every day that I was there, I was trying different combinations because you would get locked out after 3 combinations for like 15 minutes or an hour or whatever it was. And so every time I had a chance, I was trying different combinations to get the safe open. Spoiler alert, now that I'm at the end of the story, didn't happen. So I don't know why I'm sharing this with you, but I hope it brings you some joy. I'll talk to you later, maybe. I don't know. But I'll listen to you later for sure. Bye.
Okay.
So Nancy.
Okay. Well, first of all, it's going to be Lola.
Lola is
Lola
upset about this as well. Yes,
well,
as do I.
It's clear to me that Nancy is not far enough into the show that she has figured out that like she hasn't heard yet about getting listener numbers, because I bet we're going to get a call back from Nancy when she gets to listeners asking for numbers.
You mean that, like this one that came in right after that voicemail?
Oh, shit. I totally forgot to ask the most important part. Can I have a number, please? I don't care what it is. Next available is fine.
Yes.
Not picky. Can I have that tough number if that's okay?
Yes.
Thank you. Bye.
She deserves one. Yes.
Wait, was there more? Did she forget something else too at the end? Where does this go? Hold on. There's six more seconds.
Bye. Wait, this was Nancy. This is Nancy from Media PA.
Okay, no, we got that.
I love her.
Okay.
I love her so much. Welcome, Nancy.
Okay. So Nancy, yes. First of all, you can have a number. Of course you can have a number. That's what we give it on the show. You are officially listener number 31, Money Belt Nancy.
I love it.
But I got to say, and Nancy, you sound like a damn delight.
I
hope you called into the show more. But I've been doing some thinking about this, and I'm trying not to be hyperbolic. In, I guess, 30 years of producing radio and going through voicemails and playing voicemails and sharing voicemails, has to be the most disappointing voicemail I've ever played in my life. Like you're telling me a story about finding money, which is this weird, irrational thrill that I have. This is like quasi obsession, sort of. I love hearing people tell stories about how I think it all started when my friend Tony, back in high school, he left the little country town we were both living in to go live with his mom in the big city of Canton, Ohio, where he got to live the real urban lifestyle, and he would spend his days riding his bike around parking lots and hanging out with kids named Dylan and other ne'er-do-wells.
Urban names like
yes,
Dylan and Kevin.
Him and Dylan one time were in a parking lot, and he tells me he kicked a brown bag and a bunch of money came out, and he and Dylan split the money, or maybe it was Shane, I can't remember who it was, but he split the money. And ever since then, I was probably 14 years old when I heard that story from my friend Tony. I've always waited for the day that I kick a bag and money comes out. I always think that my big payday is coming. And something about it being found money is very exciting to me. And here Nancy is telling the story of realizing a safe is locked. I mean, that is so intriguing. And then the timing out. I didn't know that those safes timed out the way a computer will.
This is where this is a value add for me. I have never used a hotel safe in my life because I've never owned anything worth stealing. Down to my identity, honestly.
I was going to say, traveling abroad, if I'm traveling abroad and I'm going to be in the same place for a while, the first thing I do is I put my passport in there because I get so scared I'll lose my passport.
Never in my life have I used a hotel safe.
Really?
I don't know how you use them. I don't understand how you would set a code for it. I don't know how you tell it what the
you have to set a code before you can open it, I think.
Right.
The instructions are very simple. It's like right there. It's like, haven't you ever used like a community? Well, I guess sometimes those have keys along with it. At T-Mobile Park, they have little lockers like that too, where you can kind of set your own code and then lock your phone up in it and charge it for an hour or something during the game.
No.
It's very simple.
I don't part with my belongings if I can help it.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, your passport concern. This is why you need to get a passport card, and this is a hill I will die on. If you are an American citizen, you need to get not only a passport, the thingy, get a passport card. It's an identification card that is as valid as a passport. It's the size of a driver's license, and it counts as a passport, but it's like a card. And
that's your backup?
And it's your backup. So you always have a backup. So like I keep mine stuck to my phone, and I don't ever lose my phone. So like I have those things together at all times. So I'm just saying this is a life hack for everybody. But so this to me is I'm learning that you could potentially end up in a locked, safe situation. I'm curious what the codes were we were trying.
Mm-hmm.
Because
did we start at 000
or did
001?
Or did we go with some of the most common ones? 1, 2, 3 is obviously we know this is a common one.
3, 2, 1.
Are they alphanumeric? Is it just has numbers on it, right? Does not.
I'm guessing this is just numbers. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, there's not that many. There are a lot of permutations. Obviously, I remember that much about math.
It depends if those 3. I've been giving out 3 number codes, but the chances are it might have been a 4. I'm guessing it's a 4-digit.
4. Most likely, it's probably someone's like social, last for their social. So you're probably not going to be able to guess it, but maybe because it's probably
especially if you keep getting locked out. Do you know what are you doing there?
I'm giving Lola a snack because she's.
Oh, I thought you were giving yourself a snack. I was just
No,
curious. I saw a pickle jar. I thought maybe all the pickle talk had gotten to you.
It's a Lola snack jar. And
I
because
see.
She awakened and now she's hanging out, scratching at my leg, letting me know she would like to eat more because she would always like to eat more.
We'll make this quick. I think maybe we can get out of here now. But do you know the story about how when we moved into this house that we own now, and this is, I think we've been here about 3.5 years. When we moved in, we learned that there was a key box on our back porch, but we didn't know the code to it. So this place that we own now used to be a rental property, so people would come and go or whatever, and somebody at some point installed a key box, which is, the same thing. It's one of those things you can kind of program whatever code into it, but it's more permanent. You just set it up as the homeowner. You secure it to a wall somewhere so the whole key box can't be ripped off, and then you can keep an extra key in there, and it's great for realtors when they're showing houses, or if you just want an extra key. We love it because if somebody's like watching our cats and they forget to bring the key we gave them, there's always an emergency way in. But when we first moved in, our friend / realtor said, yeah, sorry, we don't know the code to that thing. You can just uninstall it or whatever. But it's really hard to uninstall because you need to open it to uninstall it. So Genevieve just started with 0. I don't know if it's 3 or 4 digits. I can't recall. But she just started with 000, 001. And she said that she just did, I can't remember. She said, I'll just try 5 a day or whatever. And I can't remember how long it took her. Not that long. I don't want to give away the codes to our house, but let's just say that it was in the lower half of whatever it was. So after, I don't know, a certain amount of months or under a year, I would say, she's just like, got it. And what was inside but an extra key. And now we use it and we know the key. And now we know the code.
So I love this. Although I will say that's not that much better than Nancy's story, because having a key inside of a key box is not like the greatest reveal.
But did you think something better was happening there? Well, I said it was a key.
I don't know.
Oh, also Gwyneth Paltrow's head was in there.
Thank you. That's what I was hoping for. But now I do. So I did Genevieve have like a spreadsheet or something? How is she keeping track?
It's one, the code is inputted through one of the roller combination things.
Oh, okay.
So I think she just left it where it was.
Got it.
Then next one, roll it. Next one, roll it. Next one, roll it. And eventually she got in. And at least, okay. Well, now you've embarrassed me a little bit. Maybe but I mean, at least we hacked in. Nancy's just like, yeah. And then the vacation ended, and we'll never know. We'll never. Well, Nancy, if you're still listening after my onslaught of abuse, I would just suggest next time extending your stay, like in it to win it.
Or my other suggestion is, because I love crime and things that are crime adjacent, they don't know that you're not the one who set the code. If nobody else has come forward to claim, if no one called and said, I left my safe locked, I would say the safe in my hotel room is locked. Do you have like a master override type situation? Can you come unlock it for me?
Well, this is interesting. So we do need to wrap up the show. And This just gets into such a big conversation, which I have had on TBTL before, because as I talk about my obsession with like, hey, someday I might find a bag of money in a parking lot, some people have said, well, if you find a bag of money in a parking lot, it's kind of your responsibility to probably turn that in,
No.
turn it into the store. And I'm on the fence on that one, but people have brought up certain circumstances. Well, what if you find it here? You know what I mean? Or if you find it and it's like kind of associate, if you find a $100 bill, but it's in somebody's yard, do you take it? Like, I don't know. There are some lines, and I gotta say, if I were, let's leave the safe out of it for now, because I didn't know exactly where Nancy was going with her story at first. Let's just say that I check into a hotel room and I find something of great value. Let's say $200 or more, or something that maybe would be of value, like if it was jewelry or something like that. I think especially if it wasn't cash, but maybe also cash, it's knowable who was in that room before you, and I would feel like there's maybe more of an obligation to actually tell the front desk, hey, listen, I found these diamond earrings. Hey, I found $200 in the drawer. It's probably from the person. I don't know exactly what I would end up doing for jewelry or anything that seemed like a possession. I would definitely turn it in, but for cash, I think I'd have to really think hard about if I actually did want to keep it. As unfun as that is.
Here's the thing about the safe in a hotel. If you've left it in the hotel,
well,
safe,
I was saying non-safe.
Right, okay.
At first, I was saying non-safe.
Okay,
but
in a finding situation, if it's a thing, sure, because you trace that back to someone. If it's cash, once cash leaves your pocket, it's for everybody. If cash is out of your possession,
somebody sew that onto a pillow.
It is. If cash leaves your possession, it is for the universe. I have found cash on the ground in instances. And it is now mine. And because I've also lost cash, it's fallen out of my pocket and then it went to somebody else. It's cash
on the sidewalk or whatever. But like if you find $1,000 in a Safeway parking lot, I'll be honest with you, I'm with you. I'm still probably just keeping that and looking over my shoulder and then getting in my car and just like trying to just vacate as soon as possible. But a lot of people, when I've said that, have been like, no, you have a responsibility. You got to tell the grocery store, because that could be somebody. That could be some I don't know, whatever. I don't want to stereotype, but people have said like that could be some old lady who, who's carrying cash around.
Well,
and now...
that's sounds like a bad choice that was made. Listen, I've been very poor in my life, and you know what I didn't do? Drop a wad of cash. Kept that, again, very close to my. I don't know, whatever. People might not agree with me on this, but I'm
mostly with you on that. I'm just saying that there are probably some lines.
Sure, but also here's the other thing: if I came into a hotel room, locked safe, I would notify the front desk that the safe was locked, and then I guess they can do their due diligence to figure out maybe who it belonged to, because they can trace it back. But also, if you left your stuff in a hotel safe and you didn't ever call and be like, hey, I left my stuff in the locked safe to get it back, maybe you didn't need it that bad.
Well, I mean, if it's the person who was in that hotel room literally that morning and they're on an airplane, they haven't landed yet.
Yes.
You just it really depends on the situation, right?
That's
why the safe thing seems like, and again, I'm listening to Nancy's story. I'm like, what is in the safe? I'm so excited, and I'm just kind of assuming that whatever treasure's in there belongs to Nancy now, and by extension me, and Nancy would have to share it with me probably. Because she knows I'm into this kind of stuff. Exactly. And, but honestly, I think, if it was in the safe, even though I love Nancy's approach and I might do the same thing, if I did open it and it was just cash, again, it's one of those things where if I'm staying in the hotel for 5 days, I just won't say anything. And after 5 days, nobody says anything, maybe I keep it.
That's the thing is, if
but
you're
if
there
I find
for
it
a couple
right
of
away,
days and no one has
but if
called
it's
for it.
somebody's jewelry or somebody's possessions, obviously if it's any kind of if there's a passport or something that actually identifies who the person is, I think I would feel a responsibility to probably get it back into their hands. Not just the ID itself, but the stuff that goes along with the ID, because now you have a face and a name.
Here's the thing though, and maybe this is why I've never used a hotel safe, is because if I did, I would definitely fucking forget that I put stuff in
That's the scary thing. It's very rare that I use those phone charging lockers at T-Mobile, but before I do it, I choose my password and then I I do like 3 or 4 test runs to make sure that it works, first of all, because I don't want the game to be over and then me having to track down an employee to crack it open, and then I text myself the code. I always text myself the code.
I feel like the likelihood that I'm forgetting whatever is in there is, I mean, just based on how many leftovers I've left in a hotel refrigerator, I just think my track record is not good on that.
I left like most of a 12-pack of it was a beer that I drank in high school, and it was Natty Light.
I was gonna guess either Keystone or Natty.
When I was in Arizona 2 weeks ago, for the kind of family emergency thing, I of course did at some point pick up a half rack of beer and put it in the hotel fridge, and then I didn't drink as much as I thought I was going to, and I was always wondering, where will that go? I hope, for unopened cans of beer, I hope they get into the right hands.
That I consider a tip for the staff, though.
Oh, absolutely, if they want it, and of course I tip the staff
when
as well.
I have leftover like snacks or beer, or if it's something that is, potentially edible or usable, a lot of times when I leave a tip for the staff, I will let them know, like, also there's beer in the fridge, like, you're welcome to it.
When I first was a young person who was but a young adult who was first going to hotels, as the adult or whatever in the room, not just a kid, and realized, you got to leave a tip. I used to just leave one big tip. I think I'd usually do, I don't know, $5 a day. That's what I do now. I don't know if I always did that, but say $5 a day, but then I would leave it all at the end. So I'd say if we're there 5 days, multiply that and leave $25. But I've stopped doing that. I now leave a tip every single day because you can't guarantee it's going to be the same cleaning crew every day, right?
Well, you and I differ in this, in that when I'm staying in a hotel, nobody enters the hotel but me.
You don't like that.
I don't get
okay.
cleaning. So I
see, that
only
also
leave a
is
tip at
another
the
reason
end.
you don't need the safe. And again, by the way, that makes it sound like I don't trust cleaning people, which is not the case at all. I leave my computer out. There's no way in the world I am worried about somebody taking my stuff when they come in to straighten up my bed sheets at the Marriott courtyard. You know what I mean? It's just not a concern of mine. It's only when I'm kind of overseas and I'm really concerned that I'm going to lose my passport or something. I want that extra security. But if you're not even letting housekeeping into your room, then all the more you don't need to, I guess, lock things down.
Nobody's coming in when I'm there. No, that's not happening.
Okay, so you're just leaving the tip at the end. That makes total sense. Okay, should we get out of here?
Probably should.
I like the way we left I had a hose story to tell you about cleaning with a hose, but instead we're talking about tipping.
I know. We really... It's fine.
It's fine. It was a fun show. It's good to catch up with you. The important thing is that you and I get to catch up once every 2 weeks. And if people want to eavesdrop in on us, we'll put it on the internet for them. That's basically what the show has become.
If you want to have a conversation with your friends, me and Andrew, where we can't hear you yelling at us, that's great. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're here for. However, we would like to hear from you. We want to hear about if you've ever had to, say, go through a deceased loved one's phone.
Yeah.
Tell us about it. Give us some advice.
Anything. Yeah.
I don't have experience with this because all of the people I've ever had to say goodbye to didn't have any sort of technological anything. So I don't.
You're talking specifically the digital aspect, but I'd be interested in any stories about going through loved ones' possessions and because again, I'm going to talk about this the next time we talk, but I had some, I don't want to use the word profound, but I had some, it really makes you think about things. It makes you think about, and I know that sounds really cliche, but not just death and our own impermanence, but also the value that we put on objects, objects that might not have any value to anybody but yourself. There's some really interesting things there. When one person passes away, an object that was imbued with value suddenly becomes valueless, which was something that I was thinking a lot about last week. So we'll talk more about that the next time we do the show in 2 weeks. And in the meantime, we would like to hear from you, and you're going to hear from a fella here who's going to tell you how to get in touch with us. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Hannah. We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks.
You've been listening to the Spotless Podcast. If you have a question for Hannah and Andrew or some cleaning advice, call the Spotline at 508-HOW-WASH. That's 508-469-9274. You can also email them at spotlesspod@gmail.com. We'll be back soon. But until then, always remember, life is messy, but it doesn't have to be.